finds this burrow oddly welcoming. You're far too tiny to notice her baring her teeth at enemies twice her size. But if you could, you'd probably be taking mental notes. At this point, life couldn't be simpler. You eat, you sleep, and every now and then you try to chomp on your mother's tail when she's not paying attention. It's a pretty decent arrangement, but a few months from now, everything is going to shift. By the time you're several months old, you've started tagging along with mom on her daily routine. She doesn't walk you through what's going on, you're just expected to observe and catch on. Your first real lesson? Bees. A whole lot of bees. She leads you straight to a hive and tears into it like someone owes her something. You hang back, partly because the buzzing is overwhelming, and partly because those bees look absolutely furious. They swarm all over her, driving stingers into her face, her paws, every inch of her, and she doesn't even flinch. The reason? She knows exactly what's waiting inside. Honey and bee larvae, the real prize. Eventually, she lets out a grunt in your direction, which in honey badger language roughly translates to, your turn. You inch forward, take a swipe at the hive, and instantly wish you hadn't. A bee drills you right in the nose. You yelp, topple over, and scramble away as fast as your legs will carry you. Mom doesn't so much as glance up. She just keeps eating, as though this is all perfectly standard procedure. And maybe it is. Over time, you start to get it. By get it, I mean you stop whimpering every time you get stung and start keeping your eyes on the prize. It's far from enjoyable, but it works. You're learning one of the most fundamental truths of honey badger existence. Pain fades, but snacks are forever. Around 6 months, you begin striking out on your own. Mom still watches from a distance, but she's deliberately stepping back and letting you stumble. And stumble you do, repeatedly. Your first crack at hunting is nothing short of embarrassing. You spot a scorpion and figure it looks sluggish enough to catch. It isn't. It sidesteps you, jabs its stinger into your paw, and disappears while you writhe on the ground. The venom doesn't knock you out. Honey badgers are famously resistant to it, but it stings just enough to force a rethink. Your second attempt goes slightly better. This time, you set your sights on a lizard basking lazily on a warm rock. You crouch down, hold your breath, and launch yourself forward. The lizard bolts, but you manage to snag its tail. It twists and thrashes. You twist and thrash harder, and somehow, you walk away with your very first kill. It's modest, but it's enough to make you feel untouchable. Spoiler, you're not. Around the 1-year mark, Mom decides her job here is done. One morning, she's simply gone, leaving you planted in the middle of the savannah with absolutely no contingency plan. Welcome to adulthood. Your early solo days are a messy combination of small victories and genuine disasters. You've picked up enough scavenging skills to cobble together meals, small mammals, eggs, the odd insect. But you've also learned through painful experience that not every confrontation is worth having. A particularly nasty run-in with a porcupine has you walking with a limp for days, your pride just as battered as your paw. Gradually, though, you find your footing. You stop launching yourself at anything that moves and start being selective about what's actually worth pursuing. Scorpions? Absolutely. Snakes? Without question. They're packed with protein, and more importantly, their venom doesn't slow you down. You don't exactly laugh it off, but you treat it more like a minor annoyance than a real threat. One cobra bite later, and you're curled up under a tree, leaving your immune system to sort out the rest. By age 2, you've earned a kind of grudging respect from even the savannah's most formidable residents. You're no heavyweight. Most predators have 10 times your body mass. But what you lack in size, you more than compensate for in sheer attitude. Lions, leopards, hyenas, they've all arrived at the same conclusion. Messing with you simply isn't worth the trouble. You may not come out on top every time, but winning isn't really the goal. You fight to make the whole experience so miserable for the other party that they'd rather walk away. Take the time you came across a leopard standing guard over a fresh kill. Any reasonable animal would have turned around. Leopards aren't exactly known for sharing. But you looked at the leopard, looked at the carcass, and decided it was yours. The leopard unleashed a deep, threatening growl, practically daring you to come closer. So you did. It snarled and lunged. You lunged straight back, directly at its face. For a brief moment, it was a standoff. all claws and teeth and sheer nerve. The leopard, clearly unimpressed, took a swipe at you. You ducked it and responded with a full charge. That gave it pause, running what appeared to be a quick mental calculation. Sure, you were smaller, but your absolute audacity was apparently throwing off its instincts. At last it conceded, or something very close to it, and slipped off into the undergrowth. You dragged the carcass away like the whole thing had gone exactly according to plan. And it's not only apex predators that try their luck. Sometimes it's a pack of wild dogs circling your dinner, or a bold jackal convinced it can slip past you undetected. You don't play favorites. Big or small, if something shows up and looks like it might cause problems, you make sure it walks away regretting the decision. For most animals, survival means steering clear of trouble. For you, it means doubling down until everyone else gives up. Not because you're the strongest in the room, but because you've decided you are. Confidence, it turns out, is at least half the equation. By 3, you're ready to claim a territory of your own. The catch is that space doesn't come free. Every decent stretch of land already belongs to someone. So finding your patch isn't about location scouting, it's about out-stubborning whoever's already there, through biting, growling, and general mayhem until someone backs down. Your first attempt doesn't pan out. You wander into what looks like unclaimed ground, only to discover it belongs to a seasoned honey badger who is not remotely pleased to see you. There's no warning, just a flash of claws and teeth coming straight at you. The fight is brief, brutal, and ends with you limping off with a little more wisdom and not 1 ounce less determination. Fine, you didn't want that spot anyway. Eventually, you come across a place that feels right. Good cover, plenty of prey nearby, and water within reach. There's just one problem. A jackal seems to think it lives there. Unlike your last opponent, though, it has no real appetite for a fight. One snarl and a half-hearted charge is all it takes, and just like that, you've got yourself a home. The territorial routine is nothing complicated. You make your rounds, check the borders, nose around for anything out of place, and mark your boundaries as you go. If something wanders in uninvited, a nosy mongoose, a drifting fox, you deal with it quickly. Most animals need only one lesson. The rare few who don't, you're more than happy to give a refresher. It's not a glamorous lifestyle, but it holds together well enough. You hunt, you sleep, and you occasionally stir up a bit of trouble, which is about as close to a settled domestic life as a honey badger ever gets. By 5, you've got the whole operation running like clockwork. You've accumulated enough scars to fill a book of stories, though you'd never bother telling them, because that's not really your style. Your territory holds firm, your instincts are razor sharp, and most of the local predators have long since learned to give you a wide berth. Life has settled into something steady, predictable, even comfortable. Hunting has shifted from a matter of survival to a matter of precision. You've learned to conserve energy, which means holding out for the right opportunity. A plump rabbit, an unhurried bird, or an unguarded snake's nest that can carry you through several days. Once you've eaten, you pull back to your den and sleep until hunger pulls you out again. It's a simple life, but it fits you well. Still, time catches up with everything eventually. By 8 or 9, you're not moving with the same snap you once had. The confrontations you used to hurl yourself into without a second thought now leave you sore for days. You sidestep trouble when you can, not out of fear, but because you've put in enough years to earn the right to be selective. Burning energy on every challenger just isn't worth it anymore. One afternoon, a younger honey badger wanders into your territory with the look of someone who wants to prove something. You study it, and for a moment, you remember being exactly that animal. The scuffle that follows is harder than you'd like, but you manage to send it on its way. As you watch it retreat, though, you understand something with quiet clarity. It won't be long before another one shows up, and eventually, one of them will win. That's simply the nature of things. When the end comes, it arrives without drama. You've spent a lifetime fighting, hunting, and holding your ground, but now the tiredness has settled too deep to shake. You find a cool patch of shade beneath a tree, curl yourself into it, and let the savannah roll on without you. No ceremony, no grand finale, just a still, unhurried moment of quiet. Somewhere out there, another honey badger is just getting started. Maybe sinking its teeth into its mother's tail for the very first time, or maybe hurling itself headlong at something 3 times its size. It doesn't matter either way. The cycle carries on, as it always has. You didn't leave behind a legacy, and you never needed one. For every year you walked this earth, you lived precisely as a honey badger ought to. Stubborn, fearless, and absolutely impossible to stop. And that's more than enough.